Hey guys, I am cmasupra and welcome to what I believe is the ultimate Hardpoint and Headquarters game mode class setup. And this setup has lots of flexibility, but it also has lots of requirements, as you would expect with any class setup that's being taught to you in a YouTube video. So what I'm going to do is first list off all the requirements, and then I'm going to go back and explain the reasoning behind all the requirements. And while I'm doing that, you get to watch a game of Hardpoint where I use this class really effectively and did really well. So, the requirements, I guess. The primary gun, it can be anything that you're good with. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as you have the MMS attachment on it. Your first perk should be Flak Jacket. Your second perk can be either Cold-Blooded or Hardwired, whichever one you choose. Perk 3 can be Engineer, or it has to be Engineer. And the tactical grenade or equipment needs to be a Black Hat, and you need to have 2 of them. The kill streak requirements, which is not part of the class, but it's still highly recommended, I guess, is to use the Guardian and Sentry gun, and then whatever you want for your third. In this case, in the game you're watching, I used the UAV. So now to go into the reasoning behind all of those things. So, your primary gun has to have the MMS, the millimeter scanner attachment. The reason for that is that attachment will basically be a free in-game wall hack that is acceptable to use. And the reason you want that is so that when the enemies are camping in a corner trying to capture a point in Hardpoint or Headquarters, whatever it is, they'll normally be sitting in a corner when they're trying to capture the point. So if you can see them through the wall, you can get an idea of where they are. You can see them very well, actually, with the MMS, and then you can kill them because you'll know where they are and they won't know that you're coming for them. Perk number 1, it needs to be Flak Jacket. And the reason for that is you need some way to deal with all the grenades that are going to be thrown at you if you are capturing a point. And you're not going to have the trophy system. I know lots of people like the trophy system in these game modes. I've seen it plenty of times and I've seen it used effectively. But I think the Black Hat is still more useful than that because the Black Hat can actually kill enemies, it can steal their equipment and make it yours so that they might think they're safe sitting next to their own bouncing Betty, but then you steal it and it blows up on them and they die. So that I find that really helpful in this game mode, really. Especially if they place bouncing Betties in the point that they're capturing and then you steal it from them, they blow up. You could have the whole point to yourself. You might have just killed every enemy in there. So I think that Flak Jacket is useful because you don't have the trophy system and you need some way to deal with grenades. Your second perk can be either Cold-Blooded or Hardwired, and I'm giving you an option here because it's just really just based on whatever you see more. So you want Cold-Blooded if you see lots of MMS, or opponents using MMS, the millimeter scanner, just like you are. If they're using MMS, you don't want to be seeing through the walls, so you should use Cold-Blooded. If you see the opponent using a lot of EMPs, which I have seen a lot in this game mode, then you'll want to use Hardwired. Now in the game you're watching I did use Cold-Blooded, but maybe I should have used Hardwired because I am seeing a lot more EMPs than I am MMS guns. By my opponents, that is. Your third perk, it needs to be Engineer. And the reason for that is you need to use your Black Hat effectively. It's really just as simple as that. There's not much reasoning behind it, except that the Black Hat is not very useful without the Engineer perk. So you'll want Engineer as your third perk. Your tacticals should be Black Hat, and you need 2 of them. Now the reason for that is if the enemy... I think I've already kind of explained it this video, but I'll go through it in more detail now. If the enemy has a bouncing Betty somewhere and you steal it and it blows up and kills them, that's a huge help for you. Sentries and Guardians... if your enemy has them, you can steal them, or not steal them, actually you'll kill them with the Black Hat, and I find that really useful, really. Because if they set up a Sentry or Guardian, both of which are really useful in these game modes, you will have a really hard time capturing the point. But if you stand right outside the point, around a wall or a corner or somewhere, and you destroy the Sentry or Guardian with the Black Hat, that's really useful. You've just gave your team a pretty big advantage. You've essentially nullified that person's kill streak, or kill streak reward rather. Their kill streak still exists, but their kill streak reward is dead, and your team no longer has to deal with the Sentry or Guardian that was up. So I think the Black Kite is very useful. And as I said earlier, you can steal your opponent's bouncing Betty, shock charges, stuff like that. And that can easily turn on them and you can use it quite effectively. Even stuff like C4. I've actually killed someone by stealing their C4 and then blowing it up. That was actually pretty funny when I did that. Kill streak requirements, which is really the last kill streak requirement. Or rather, the last requirement. You need to have a Guardian and Sentry Gun as 2 of your kill streaks. The third one can be whatever you want it to be. I don't really care what you make it. I used the UAV in this game. So the reason behind those is, as I was kind of explaining earlier, this Guardian and Sentry Gun are both really, really good in these game modes because even if you die, those 2 will still protect the point that your team has, and it'll make it easier to capture the point if neither team has it already. If your opponent has it, it's not very useful. I mean, it's still useful. You can still use it if your opponent has the point, but neither one of them is very good if your opponent has the point. So they're more useful when neither team has the point, or you guys have the point, your team that is. So they're able to kill things even after you die. If you have a Guardian or Sentry Gun facing where most of the enemies are coming from, they're not going to be able to easily deal with them without grenades, and that's where your Flak Jacket comes in handy. So those are really the requirements. The video is only halfway done, and I've already finished explaining everything. So I guess we'll just continue watching the video. I do want to show you guys this full game, and then as usual, a bonus clip at the end. In this case, the bonus clip is me failing really, really hard, and so does the person who was shooting at me. It was actually quite funny. I was cracking up after it. I didn't explain this earlier, but the free items you can have, because the requirements I listed for your class do not take up all 10 slots. So you can have a few free items in the class, as I did. In this case, in my class, I used the what's it called? The laser sight on my MSMC. And that's just because I find it really, really good on this gun. So I had the MS attachment, which is a requirement. Then I had the laser sight, which is an optional thing that I chose to use. My secondary gun was the B23R. I just like the pistol. And lethal grenade, I used just regular grenades. And mild cards, I used none. So those are pretty much everything that you have, that you are able to freely use. The secondary primary gun attachment, you can also change your primary gun whatever you want it to be as long as you have the MMS. Your secondary gun itself you can change. The attachment on your secondary gun you can change. Lethal grenades you can change whatever you want it to be. And mild cards you can change them to be whatever you want them to be. It does not matter to me. Actually, it doesn't matter to me at all if you follow this or not, but it doesn't matter towards the class setup if you change those things. So, in my setup, I was using, remember it was optional to use cold-blooded or hardwired. I used cold-blooded. I think I already explained this, but maybe I should have used hardwired because I see a lot of EMPs in this game, or these game modes rather. So maybe I would go with hardwired over cold-blooded. I used cold-blooded simply because I thought that was better at the time when I recorded this, which was actually today, but then I changed it to hardwired. Wow, my mind's going blank already. So I was using cold-blooded, and you can actually see it hurt me a few times in this game if you've been paying attention. Hey, UAV. I did get the Sentry Gun and the Guardian, both of them, in this game at some point. It may have already passed, I don't have a clue, I have not been watching. Instead I have notes up on my screen, on my laptop rather. I'm recording this on my desktop, and on my laptop I have notes written for what I want to talk about. I've already finished all my notes, I am just rambling. Feel free to skip to the end and watch the bonus clip if you don't feel like hearing me ramble, because most likely it's not going to be very entertaining. Although some of you like to listen to me ramble, because that's mostly what I do anyways. Kind of like this. And hey! The Guardian got the kill right there. I thought that was hilarious when I was playing. I was like, oh my gosh, why? My Guardian got the kill right there even though I was shooting at the guy. I just thought that was hilarious, because normally the Guardian is not what gets you the kills. You may notice there my pistol is really, really quiet. I'm having some bug in the game. I might need to uninstall and reinstall the game. But pistols are really, really quiet. All of them. All the pistols. I don't know if it's a feature in the game or what, but it's been happening for the past few days. So I'm gonna have to fix that. Anyways, I've managed to ramble all the way until the game is over. My sentry gun got the final kill cam, so hey, the sentry gun's really useful. It's proving my point already. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. The bonus clip, as I have explained earlier, is me failing and the guy who was shooting at me failing really hard. Both of us failed really hard. And then here also I'm going to show you my fully decked out class setup in case you want to copy it exactly. So as you can see, I have the MMS, I have the 3 required perks, I have the black hat, and then as you saw previously in the game, I had the Guardian and the Sentry Gun in my kill streaks, and then I also had the UAV because I like the low kill streak, and the UAV just helps the whole team. So I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next video. And here's the bonus clip. Bye, guys. So in this game, I do so well that someone actually calls me a hacker at the end. That's going to be the bonus clip at the end of this, is just listening to that person call me a hacker. There's no special other bonus clip, but I would say that's pretty special on its own.